Okay, so when we're talking about the data flow diagram, we just need to be able to understand that which components we are building in our system and which data will be going through from the components, from one component to another component, which data are going. So that is what we need to be aware about. Data flow is nothing, it's just data moving from one origin to the destination. For example, uh, your component or your, like, say, part subsystem is, for example, a login form, and the data that's like whatever you put through that login form will go to the database, and then it will check. So basically you can say that the login form is sending some data to the database for checking the credentials sent by a user, for example. So that is what the data flow means. So that is why direction is important, which from which part we are sending the data to which part. That is important to understand. And processes. Circle means something and rectangular shape means something. It's not exactly rectangular, it's oval rectangular. The edges are oval shaped and the rest of the part is rectangular shaped. So that's important to remember. Source or destination of data, you can like use the like square or rectangular shape to indicate them, and for indicating data stores you can simply put two parallel lines. Okay, so basically these are the you can say items you need to remember when you're drawing the data flow diagram. You need to remember how you can draw a data flow. To indicate a data flow, you need to use an arrow. And if you want to show processes, you need to use either a circle or an oval shaped rectangular, or you can like simply use source or destination of data. To indicate the sources of data or the destinations of the data, you can use a simple square shape, or for indicating the data store you can use parallel lines. Okay, so these are the things that you need to remember. Again, we just simply revise the terms that we learned. Okay, sample DFDs. So we can the data flow diagram can expand up to three levels: level 0, level 1, and level 2. So three levels DFD can expand to. And how we can represent the data flow diagrams: level 0 is the most simple of forms. You just try to represent the whole system that you built in one uh, diagram without dividing it into subdivisions. You just like present a very the simplest, the like unit like form of your system that you built or that you're supposed to build. Okay, so for example, think about you built uh, what can we say, a student management system, suppose. And what can you represent? That there is a database, obviously, that's storing all the data. So you indicate a simple data store, and the process is supposed to be the data provenance that's going to happen inside your database. From your database, the data will be fetched, and to your database, the data will be brought to. So that's the process that you can put. And as a source, you can use a form, right? You can use like user end forms to uh, capture the data, to input the data into the database, and there will be a process in between. And the destination, you can put destination accordingly, right? So that is the simplest. So data flow diagrams level 0 will contain the most like most naive form of your system. Okay, so that is, you need to be able to visualize that picture within your head, how you can do that. how you can build a data flow diagram that will contain the simplest version of your system. So, well, now we can think what the data flow diagrams level 1 will be like. So the level 1 will be like a little bit more detailed version of your data flow diagram level 0, right? So there we can expect more processes, we can expect more data stores, we can expect more sources and destinations, and we can expect more data flow, like more arrows, right? There were like more arrows than the level 0 diagram. Okay, leveling of DFD, when we can use the DFD when we want to represent a system or a piece of software at any level of abstraction. So if we want to represent an abstraction of the software that we are going to build, we can use the DFD, right? And we begin at the topmost level. Basically, we begin with the most simplest version of our system, of our abstraction of the software that we are going to build, and then we can like dive deeper into the system and then show the processes, show the abstraction in deeper levels. That's all. In the DFD diagram, we just represent the software that we are going to build in different levels of abstractions. Okay, that is the note that we need to remember. That's all. And leveling of DFD, the data flow will, like, obviously we can expect that when there are more data stores, more origins and destinations, the data flow will be more, so that we can represent the abstraction in a deeper level. Level 0 DFD, as we can see, here is an example for you. So it's basically a DFD made to present a what is the diagram that it saw. Okay, so basically you can say that this is basically a hiring agency, right? A hiring agency is collecting all the students' information, and we can this is the simplest abstraction that we can represent our system. So basically we present these companies, brochure printers, students and government agencies as our, so squares were used for what purpose? Entity. So we can say that these are our entities, right? Brochure printer is our entity, students is our entity, government agencies is our entity, companies is our entity. And with the data flow, we are basically presenting what data is flowing from this entity to this. This is the process, right? So circle is used to indicate process. So what information will the process contain? The process placement system is going to contain the brochures. It's going to contain the requirements suggested from the companies. It's also going to contain the resumes sent from students. And it's also going to contain government agencies' information. Okay, so that's what the process is going to contain. And this is the simplest way of presenting how the system is going to work, so that you get the immediate idea from your DFD level 0 that what is the system about, what will it contain, the basic, the skeleton, the most naive or the simplest skeleton of your system. That's what you are going to present in this DFD level 0. And then in level 1 you just dive a little deeper into your system. Okay, so this is how you can represent. Let's say that this is how we can represent our idea. We will obviously have more data flowing from one process to another process, so we just have now separate processes. As you can see in level 1 DFD, though, you will just have separate processes for processing each type of data. So previously you saw that there was only one common process that was going to hold all the data that's coming from different entities. But now, as you can see, that the differences between the different processes presented here on this diagram, that invite for interview process will going to contain printed brochure or letter. So the data flow is more specified in the level 1 DFD. The data flow is more specified in the level 1 DFD, and the processes are more specific, are more separated than the previous one, which was level 0 DFD. So now you can like get a clearer, deeper, more detailed idea of your system, or you can represent the abstraction, a detailed, more specific abstraction of the software that you're proposing. Okay, so basically you will define more entities as likely, and you will also, there is one important point to remember, that you will also introduce your database store or data stores in your level 1 DFD, not in your level 0 DFD. Okay, so it's recommended to not present the details of your data stores into the level 0 DFD. So that's recommended, of course. So data store, as you introduce data stores, you will obviously uh, be expected to present a more specific representation of the abstraction of your software. But when you're presenting data stores, you cannot be concise, right? Because you will need to be able to present the data flow flowing from one entity into another process, vice versa, and you will require data stores to present the abstraction in a more detailed, specific manner. So it's recommended that you present more entities, more data flows, and your data stores in your level 1 DFD. So that's what you need to be able to remember. Okay, so if you can represent the abstraction in that way, you will present the uh, bigger picture or wider picture of your system as usual. So, and in the exam, it's expected that you will be asked to draw the level 0 DFD and level 1 DFD only, because if you draw these two diagrams, your allocated time will not allow you to go for level 2 DFD. But as you can see, as we can expect, that level 2 DFD is going to be more detailed than level 1 DFD, right? We can expect more specific data stores, and we can expect more specific not bi-directional data flows, and we can expect the best, the most specific abstraction of the system that you will propose, or that you're going to propose. Okay, so level 2 DFD will contain the most specific, most detailed, and most accurate representation of the abstraction of your software that you can expect. And in level 2 DFD, we can also expect no bi-directional data flows. We can expect more specific, more concise processes, and more specific, most specific, you can say, data stores. Okay, so that is what you need to be able to remember. Like you can see, previously in levels 1 DFD, there were bi-directional data flows, for example here, but in the level 2 DFD, you can see none. You can see no bi-directional data flows. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.